After technical difficulties, we can finally be heard. And after other technical difficulties, OWSS returns from a 2-week hiatus. I am Lorenzo Eterovic-Funcic, joined alongside Samuil, Slavev and Remco Zeeuw on cameras, your usual crew here at OWSS, for round 3 of Season 2 here at Kyalami. Samuil, how are you feeling about today's round?
I'm feeling good. I'm glad the league is back and I'm ready to see some action and see how this round is going to pan out, as hopefully it's not as one-sided as the previous ones.
I absolutely share that sentiment, and unfortunately we did miss qualifying, but by the looks of things, your wishes are not going to be fulfilled just yet, as Cody Latkovsky, for the 3rd time this season, will look to take pole position, and it doesn't look like there's anyone out there who could try and best him, as Thiago Melo moves up into P6. There's still a couple of people out there setting their laps, as David Junt shoots up into 3rd place. Impressive lap time yet again by the Swiss veteran here. Kordian Krzyminski, the Polish driver with the French team in PMP Motorsports, coming back after performing decent in round 1 and missing round 2. He's a 2nd up on his personal best in Sector 1. And he'll look to improve from currently last place. Or well, he's not set a lap time yet, the only driver not to do so. And I think he'll be able to qualify above 20th place, really. Do you share that sentiment, Samuel?
Looking at the sector times at the minute, I don't think that's going to be happening, but he still has a chance. Sector 3 is decently long, so he can still pull something off.
I see, and well, he's a 2.5 up on his personal best in Sector 2, as well as we mentioned before, a 2nd up on his personal best in Sector 1. What will his Sector 3 look like, and will he be able to improve? Well, not quite, but at least he has set a lap time. So Kordian Krzyminski will be our last driver to cross the line, and our last driver on the grid for today, as Kordian Latkovsky, as we mentioned before, 3rd pole position in a row for the Macedonian driver. Victor Bernat in 2nd place with the Optimal Esports outfit, and David Junt yet again in the top 3 in qualifying, 2nd time across these 3 rounds. Faiz Jongstra in P4 with Ben Skinner in P5, Christian Glomsetter in P6, Thiago Melo P7, Antonis Paparinopoulos in P8, Neuva McKenna in P9, and Andy Park, a fresh face here in P10. Neuva McKenna, obviously, being the team owner of McKenna Racing, stepping in today. Brady Lawless, 11th with McManus Motorsports. Leila Petralia, P12. Jonas Kaurala, P13. Mark Silagi, P14. Juho Soppinen, P15. Craig Patterson, P16. Rafael Orhem, P17. Stavros Sarikas, P18. Brando Tenorio, P19. And Kordian Krzyminski last in P20. So obviously not a full grid. There was not a full grid at the first 2 rounds either, with 24 and 23 cars respectively, if I remember correctly. Only 20 cars today out of a maximum 30, so 2/3 of the grid still attending is not a bad thing, but obviously you'd have hoped to see more people coming back, especially after a bit of a break for everyone to, get everything that they might want to get together, Samuel.
Yeah, I agree with what you have said. Hopefully, sprint race is also very interesting. Warm-up is coming up now, so the people that haven't practiced too much can get 2, 3, 4 laps, maybe more in. So yeah.
Yeah, very long lap times here at Kyalami, as it's one of the longest circuits on our calendar, 4.5 kilometers. You can see by the laps as well, 13 laps in the sprint and 20 in the feature, and the lap times as well during qualifying. The fastest lap time was a 1:43, so very long lap times here, not quite a lot of time for people to set laps in during warm-up to try and get more adjusted to the cars. And just a side note, before we continue any further, looking through our Discord server, which you should definitely join if you want to compete in the league or just keep a better eye on us. Very nice plug there by myself, if I say so. Kordian Krzyminski, unfortunately last and with a 3 seconds slower lap time than our pole sitter due to his force feedback not being responsive. So unfortunate there for the Polish driver. And hopefully he does manage to fix all of that before our sprint race. So we could be looking at someone other than him, as we see there he is in the pit lane. I'm assuming fixing his force feedback, and obviously hopefully fixes it. But the man who we all have our eye on, both here on the broadcast and just in general, Cody Latkovsky, third pole position in a row, obviously has won all 4 races across the first 2 rounds. Do you think he can replicate that success here at Kyalami, Samuil?
As much as I want to say that he won't be able to, I just cannot really believe myself in that statement. So I think he could still get a race 1 win, a race 2 win, maybe even both fastest laps. But let's see. There's also a bit of a luck factor as well in all the races, of course. Anything can happen. Victor Bernat is very fast as well. So last race, I think Victor maybe even had the same pace as Cody. So I can expect him to challenge here if he just has the dice on his side.
Absolutely. If memory serves me correct, it was Cody who said during our interview post Hampton Downs, our round 2, that it was, I think, was it Victor or Ben who kept him on his toes throughout the races, and I feel like both of them have what it takes to do that yet again here at Kyalami. David Tunt, obviously, done very well in qualifying this season, qualified second in Akayama during our round 1, and he's now third here for Kyalami. Hampton Downs being a bit of a letdown for the Swiss veteran, and I think he might also be with a shout here. Faiz Youngsho, also another driver to keep an eye out on. Eunice Carroll as well, who replaces for today's race Lucas Filin. 2 very good drivers, obviously one not here today, but I think that Carroll is also in a shout here for a good result. There's quite a lot of people here who've been performing very, very well, who I can see putting on a very good performance, but it remains to be really seen whether anyone can challenge Cody for that first place in the races. But I do feel like this could be the day that he's toppled, really. Just under a minute left in warm-up. I feel like we can take a quick look at the 2 fresh faces, or 3 fresh faces, or well, 2 are not really fresh faces, but it's their first time, apologies, driving this season. First one being Brody Lawless, one of the top contenders in our first season, obviously returning for, I'm not sure whether it's a one-off or not, currently in the pit lane, but he is with McManus Motorsports for today's round. Will be interesting to see how he does. Actually, no, apologies, he did drive in Hampton Downs, or who was it?
Yeah, he did.
I'm just trying to remember who he did Hampton Downs for.
Oh,
Never mind. It's
I forget as
important who
well.
he's with for now, and I think he can do very well today as well. Hampton Downs, obviously, he had a wheel that was on its last legs, and now he has a new wheel, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out for him. The other 2 faces, Nova McKenna, is she still on track, finishing her lap time? I think she's not. No, not anymore. But obviously the team owner of McKenna Racing, and has done a couple of one-offs in season 1, but mostly just sticks to running the team. Again, has to fill in today for well, neither of their main drivers are here in Philip Jawinski and James Knox. So Nova McKenna being the sole car for her own team. And the other newcomer here today is Andy Park, who we've not seen beforehand in any OWSS event. Entirely new face at Optimal, the Chilean driver qualifying P10 out of 20. So we'll be trying to see how Andy Park performs today.
Oh yeah, that's actually an interesting name. I saw her be in like P10, P11. I didn't expect her to have that good of a pace coming. She joined the league today, I think. So yeah, she actually did a pretty good job qualifying. So let's see what she can do.
Let's see indeed, as we leave warm-up and get ready for everyone to get on the grid so we can go forwards with our formation lap. As we see, that was not a pole sitter. No, apologies, that is Craig Patterson, who starts first. Obviously, for the sprint race, it is the top 16 reversed. Obviously, starting the season, we had 32 teams. Spinardi, being absent from the first 2 rounds, have decided not to hog a space, so they've decided to pull out, but the system will remain the same, where the sprint race has the top 16 reversed from qualifying, and then the feature race is just a qualifying order, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think, yeah, exactly like that.
See? You know better than I do. Anyways, as we go onwards with our formation lap.
I got scared for a moment. I thought we were going, and I'm like, why is everyone so slow?
Just warming the tires up.
Lovely to see the Cyrex in P1 though.
Absolutely, and Craig Patterson, that's Cyrex in P1, with Juho Soppinen accompanying him on the first line of the grid. Mark Selagi and Jonas Karola P3 and 4. Leila Petralia in the second, Velo 1 in P5, Brady Lawless P6, Andy Park 7th, Nova McKenna 8th. In P9 is Antonis Paparinopoulos, Tiago Melo in P10, Ben Skinner P11, Christian Glomsetter in P12, P13 being Faiz Youngshed, David Yunden P14, Victor Bernard P15, Cody Nikolotkovsky in P16, and then P17 it was Rafael Orhem, yes, Stavros Sarikas P18, Brandon Tenorio P19, and Kodian Krzyminski in P20.
Hey, Brando is in last. That's an improvement from the last round when he said he would quit, so good to see that.
Yeah. Let's not give him too much of a... with all due respect to Brando, obviously, I do hope that he does as well as he can in today's round, but Kodian Krzyminski himself has admitted that he did have no force feedback during qualifying. This seems to say that he reset basically his entire controls during warm-up. So hopefully that's fixed his problems, and hopefully that means he can charge up through the field and we can see him perform very well compared to his qualifying, of course. Oh god, my throat is dry today.
Drink water then.
I do have a massive bottle of water indeed. Remember, hydration is important, especially if you're commentating.
Ooh,
there's a massive gap between the top 5, top 6 in the warm-up and then the rest of the field really. Brady Lawless is holding everyone up. I'm not quite sure whether that is intentional or not, but you could see there that
of course Brody's slowing down. I'm not even one bit surprised, I can't lie.
There's still a massive gap, and he's not warming his tires, swirling around, but he's just slowing down an obscene amount, you could say, really, and holding most of the rest of the grid up. And I'm not quite sure what's happening with Brady Lawless, because to my knowledge he was supposed to have a new wheel by now.
He's on it, yeah.
So not quite sure what's happening. As
yeah, I'm sure he's just trolling again, and that's
he's gonna have to slot in really well into his grid slot, and that's gonna hamper
perfect
his
starting
start.
position. Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna hamper his start massively. But Craig Patterson starting on pole will be hoping that he isn't hampered as the lights fully go on and then go off. The green lights are on. as Brody Lawless somehow manages to have a decent start.
Chaotic start.
Craig Patterson, though, doesn't have a good start as he would have hoped for, and Juho Sopanen is fairly alongside him.
Five
So on the
wide!
outside line, there's 5 wide action already into turn 1, as Juho Sopanen taps the back of Craig Patterson ever so slightly, and there's someone's off into the runoff. Luckily, there doesn't seem to be any really big carnage, as there's more 3 wide action there. Oh, someone spun. That's one of the. Oh, there's more spinning in the back. There's more spin. That's one of the.
That's a Pro. That's Rafael.
That's Rafael Arhem spinning around, and I think that was Victor Bernard who spun around, as well as Jonas Karola. So Jonas Karola and Victor Bernard tangle at the start, and we've had 3 people already fall massively compared to their starting positions, and Jonas Karola now looking to overtake Stavros Sarikas. Kodian Krzyminski, we said he might be able to improve if he's now fixed his control. He's moved up 3 positions already. Victor Bernard is ever so slowly moving up back again after losing so many positions. Jonas Karol will look to overtake Stavros Sarikas on the outside here, but Sarikas closes the door. Very good defense there from Sarikas. Karol will look to do a switcheroo, but doesn't have enough space. Very good defensive drive there from the Greek driver as we turn our attention to the front. Andy Park moves up to P9, defending from Thiago Melo. There's a South American fight here, the Chilean versus the Brazilian. Oh, someone looks up behind, that's David Junt, who's also fallen massively. So I think that was David Junt who had some contact with Victor Bernard. Oh, I could be wrong, apologies, sorry, no. Because of the top 16 reversed. So David Junt has gained 3 positions. The biggest gainer so far is Faiz Youngstra and Ben Skinner moving up 6 positions respectively. Brady Lawless has lost 7 positions, but so has Noah McKenna. Jonas Karola down 15 positions. So something did happen to Jonas Karola at the start. We didn't quite see who he tangled with, but Victor Bernard, who I think might have been the car who he had the contact with, is now overtaken Noah McKenna for P14, and there's so many things happening as we see. That was one of the Excellions, the sole Excellion actually, Faiz Youngstra going wide onto the grass and had to slow down a bit due to that, which allowed Glomstetter and Papernopoulos to pass him. There's battles everywhere. Shilagi's just overtaken Juho Sopanen for P2, Samuel.
Yeah, very, very interesting opening laps. I thought it was going to be clean. Oh, Juho Sopanen, I think, doesn't leave enough space for Mark. Gets pushed a bit wide. Very, very interesting battles. They kept it clean for half the track, you could say, and then chaos ensued, but that's how it goes here sometimes. So, ooh, very deep dive by Mark. Hits. Yeah, I don't think that was really the move, but he's just overzealous to make the move into P2. But there's 10 more laps, 11 more laps left, so he needs to be a bit more patient maybe.
Absolutely, and that was a very, very bold move by Silagi, and that was never going to work, really. Not enough space for him to catch up to, and the space on the inside was closing for him. Fortunately enough, not really any damage caused to the car in front in Juho Sopanen. Leila Petralia, though, is filling that Velo 1 sandwich up quite nicely, although she's under threat by Christian Glomsetter behind. And Glomsetter, the sole Fox Esports car today, Magnus Ockenhaug, his teammate, missing in action today. So it's all on the other Norwegian, the Fox Esports car, to gain ground on the Elk pairing of Melo and Latkovsky, who are hounding down Antonis Papernopoulos here. Latkovsky and Melo P8 and 9 respectively. Papernopoulos defending that P7 with his life on the line, as something has happened to Craig Patterson. He might have gone wide as he's fallen from 1st to 3rd. Leila Petralia has also lost P3 to Glomsetter, and Skinner's up as well. So Petralia's gone from 3rd to 6th and Patterson from 1st to 3rd, which means Juho Sopanen now leads the race. So Silagi will now definitely want to try and make a move again on Sopanen, although he doesn't look quite as close enough as he was earlier on when he tried that move. Petralia keeps falling down massively. Does she have some sort of damage that's hampering him? Maybe. As Latkovsky here is going to hope to make a move, but there's just not quite enough space for him to try and think of it, as Petralia is fighting Papernopoulos at the moment. And he's just going to have to slot behind and look for an opening at some point in time so that he can capitalize on either of those mistakes or pick them off one by one as Petralia moves.
Big crash!
Petralia sweeps! Petralia sweeps Latkovsky off the track and then spins herself. And I mean, that was just reckless driving from the Italian there, as she just focuses too hard on the car in front and sweeps the car behind, not looking in the mirrors at all. And oh, that's one of the that's I think nothing that was Kodian Krzyminski who went off before
that was
the last turn. Someone's off in the background as well, stationary on the apex. That's Brando Tenorio, who's
reverse.
Brando. There we go. Puts in a reverse. 3
put it into second.
No. Oh, okay.
Oh, he
Never
gave
mind.
up. Come on.
Never mind that. Craig Patterson keeps falling down as he's now in 5th. So something's happening to Craig Patterson, whether he's just got some sort of damage that's decreasing his performance, or he's just starting to struggle with Tawe already. Obviously, this is the longest track we've done so far this season, so Tawe is going to start taking effect much earlier than Okayama, for example, or Hampton Downs especially. But Craig Patterson seems already a bit wibbly wobbly on the steering through that section of corners. So could it be Tawe already, Samuil, on lap 4, or is it just damage?
Very, very possible what you're saying, but I don't think it's tire. It's just way too early. Even if it's a long track, most likely it's damage or just pace. Remember, this is the reverse grid, so he qualified I forgot 16. Yeah. So he didn't have too much pace, so it's maybe normal for him to drop down. Christian Glamstetter was faster, Juho Soppanen was faster, Ben Skinner was faster, so I think this is normal for him to lose positions at the minute.
Oh, that's Craig Patterson! We were just talking about him as he goes wide out of the penultimate corner and hits the tyre barrier very, very hard indeed. And he goes into the pit lane. Will he be just fixing the damage and getting new tires, or is he going to pull into the garage and call it quits?
He's just gonna...
No, he's just gone through the pit lane. He's taken a
drive-through.
He's taken a drive-through without his own will, really, and that's just heartbreaking, really.
That's just very unlucky.
Very, very unlucky for the Guernsey driver. Oh, as that's Rafael Arhem in front of him, being kind of swept up in a battle with Brody Lawless, is not doing as well as I would have expected him to. He could just be sandbagging, really, for his own enjoyment, as you mentioned during warm-up and during the formation lap, actually, so sorry. But Brady Lawless currently occupying the last points paying position as opposed to fighting up in the front where we would have really expected him to be. He started 6th and he's now down in 15th, so not really quite sure what's up with Brady Lawless for today's event, but never mind. Let's focus on the other Elk car that wasn't affected in that well of one incident, in Thiago Mello, who's fighting Ben Skinner for P4 and hoping to catch the other well one of Juho Soppanen, and in a way exact revenge for his teammates' unfortunate mishap, as that Velo 1 of Juho Soppanen goes wide out of the penultimate turn. Thiago Mello with the inside line through the final turn manages to pluck off Ben Skinner for P4, so now he's got Juho Soppanen not far, and Antonis Paparadopoulos is almost bump drafting Ben Skinner, and he'll definitely look to overtake on the inside through turn 2 here. No, he stays behind, surprisingly enough, as Antonis Paparadopoulos is pushed really pushed by Faiz Youngstra off track, and Faiz Youngstra takes that position, I would say, undeservedly. So,
Faiz Youngstra spins!
Oh,
Balls
no!
He just misses the barrier as well.
He just misses the barrier, but that was really, if you believe in stuff like karma, then you will most certainly be sure that that was a piece of karma there for Faiz Youngstra after shoving Paparadopoulos out of the way into turn 2. Is he just waiting for everyone to go through?
I don't think so. He's on his break. Look at the inputs.
He is on his... No.
Oh, he killed the engine.
He can't stall. He stalled. Well, you do hate to see it, really.
Oh, he's gonna be doing some
Objectively
laps
speaking,
then.
he's gonna have a clean air, and he will have to hope for someone in front of him to face some horrible misfortune as he did just now. But I think with what happened in turn 2 between him and Paparinopoulos, him spinning was very much deserved, but stalling the engine was a bit unfortunate, really. I mean,
Okay.
just being subjective here, really.
True, that is true, yeah.
You can't be objective all the time, but one person.
Thiago Melo is going to be going for a move here.
Yeah, he has an objective, and that objective is the win, as he's alongside Juho Soppinen into turn 2 and clears him very easily. And he's got a 2-second gap, 2.1, 2.2, between himself and Mark Silagi for P2, as Silagi is looking to overtake Christian Glomsetter for P1 with a half-second gap between those two. And there's 6 laps to go, or... no, sorry, my math is really bad. Is it 6 or 7? Unintentional there, unintentional.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, unintentional, I'm sure. You'd say that, yeah.
Oh, there's someone in the grass. There's a lot of drivers have been
using the gravel there.
Yeah, not just there, but throughout the track, really. We've seen how many people have gone off wide, and Craig Patterson as well hitting the tyre barrier out of the penultimate turn. But that penultimate turn seems to be one of the hardest points for drivers today to master, as we see in the other KKR esports. Both KKR esports are trailing the Velo ones and looking to overtake them. Skinner trailing Soppinen for P4 and Carola trailing Petralia for P16. And Carola will be looking to pick off Petralia soon enough, as the more he sits behind her, the bigger the gap between himself and Patterson grows, as the yellow flags in sector 3 as Silagi is falling down. So something has happened to the Hungarian driver. Oh, he's sitting on the apex there, so something has happened indeed to Silagi. Was there contact between himself and Glomsetter? Oh no! And that was Craig Patterson who hit him, as Jonas Carola DNFs as well. So something has happened to Jonas Carola while we're looking at Mark Silagi, and something happened to Mark Silagi while we're looking at Jonas Carola. Oh, we're gonna have to look at replays here. What happened to both of them?
I'm assuming he just spun. Oh,
someone
spun in the back.
Leila Petralia in the back.
Oh my days.
Taking the same route of action.
Is the last corner slippery or something? What is happening?
I'm not quite sure. We're gonna take a look at the replay now at what happened for Mark Silagi. Oh no, this is Jonas Carola first. Sorry. Oh no, he just overclocked. Oh, they both overclock hit. And Jonas Carola just decided not to continue. Synchronized spinning. What happened to Mark Silagi though? Was there contact between himself and...
oh no.
Glomsetter, or... oh, no, I think he just... yeah, he just lost the rear.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't the curve. He wasn't on the curve, he just lost the rear.
And then too hard on the brakes and locked up.
And then, obviously, Craig Patterson. Ever misfortunate. Oh... he spun first there. Takes a bit of a detour through the grass. And then I think that was him who unfortunately hit Mark Silagi standing on the apex. That was Kordian Krzyminski behind, also being very, very loose. Was it Craig Patterson who hit? Oh, this is what happened to Craig
that curb is that curb is so horrible. Oh, why would you put that ever?
Yeah, well, could that be the reason why I've seen so many people go off in the penultimate turn?
Maybe.
That inside sausage curve. As we'll take a look at what happened between Leila Petralia and Nikola Latkovsky, and that's just careless. There's no really other way to put it. It's just careless from Leila Petralia. If we can take a look at an onboard from Nikola Latkovsky, and I mean, without sounding too rude, there's a reason why mirrors are put on cars, especially racing cars. And I feel like if I go any more in depth, then it just wouldn't be right, the things I would say. So let's just leave it at that. And we saw there for a split second Nikola Latkovsky is in
Who was
much better
racing
than
for
Layla
P3?
Petrelli. That's very close racing for P3 indeed. As you said, there's 5 drivers competing for that P3 spot, going from Juho Sopanen down to Victor Bernat. Oh, that's Victor Bernat as well, being tagged by David. No, that was David Jund. Tagged by, I think that was Ben Skinner. So now Jund has been overtaken by Victor Bernat, as Antonis Papranopoulos is going to look to overtake Juho Sopanen here, entering Sector 3 as Kordian Krzyminski is falling down massively, and Kordian Krzyminski is out of the race. So something's happened to the PMP driver as well. I'd like to take a look at that after the race. There's yellow flags in Sector 1 now, and something's...
There's going to be a deep dive from Ben Skinner here for the move. That's just a horrible move.
That wasn't worthy. That just wasn't worth going for.
That was a horrible move by Ben Skinner.
It was, and that's gained Victor Bernat 2 positions, as he goes from P6 to P4. Paparanopoulos goes the opposite way from P4 to P6, as Skinner, after trying that, was it Victor Bernat? I think that was very loose for turn 2, apologies, and he lost P4 and P5, so now he's down to P6 again, and Ben Skinner now in P4. I would say undeservedly so after that move on Paparanopoulos, Samuil.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I really didn't like that move. I am all for hard racing, aggressive driving, but not in that way. He could have done a very different thing. He could have just waited for turn 1, because that's the best opportunity you get on the long straight. I think it's just way too eager, but I can sort of understand since there's only 3 laps left and there's quite a lot of ground that he needs to cover. He's going to be hoping to pull away now that Juho Sopanen and Antonis are fighting. Oh! Juho locks up!
Oh! Was that a lockup? Was that contact with Paparanopoulos?
I'm not too sure, but I think it was a lockup. I saw the white smoke go up, so I'm assuming it's that. And now that allows David Jund to go through, and Cody Nikola caught up 3 seconds in 1 lap, and now he's also in the fight for P3.
He is, and with 3 laps to go now, Cody Nikola Latkovsky, obviously, after that contact with Layla Petrelli, is going to have some damage, but he does well to keep the car together through there. And I mean, after that, you wouldn't have expected him to be on the podium at all. But now, we're just about 2 laps to go, starting lap 11 of 13. He's in with a shout at being P3. And that could be a double podium for Elk if that comes to fruition. As we see Ben Skinner now is shot off into the distance, away from the likes of Paparanopoulos and Bernat and Sopanen and Jund. As that Victor Bernat makes a very, very brave lunge into turn 2, and he's worked so far for him, as Paparanopoulos is still alongside him on the inside line, but he's lost the rear end, and Paparanopoulos has spun round, and that allows Latkovsky to go into P7, and Paparanopoulos decides not to continue on with the race. He's DNF'd.
I don't know why you would give up. There's 2 laps left. You had a big gap to P9 and P10. You could have very well secured easy points, but you decide to quit. I don't like that mentality at all. I don't like it.
I would agree with that as well, and out of the 20 starters we've had, that now loses only 15. So everyone who finishes the race is going to gain points, as Victor Bernat does some curb riding there and is off into the gravel and grass. He's going the wrong way now to try and rejoin, and he's lost P7 to Nova McKenna as well, and that was Rafael Arhem. Rafael Arhem, who we've not seen this race at all from the start, is into P8 with everything considered. So that's a great race for the Swedish driver. He's come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I haven't seen him all race, and he's in P8. Yeah. Great drive by him, under the radar.
Under the radar, absolutely. And Pereira has had some amazing results in these first 3 rounds. Obviously, Cesarizzo in Okayama finishing 3rd, or was it 2nd actually? No, it was 3rd.
3rd, yeah.
So Pereira has had some amazing underdog performances this season, and this looks to be another one as well, as Rafael Arhem's gained 9 positions during this sprint race. So lovely to see that. And Andy Park has overtaken his teammate for today in Victor Bernat. He's now in P9 as well, so a great race for the debutant. Nikola Latkovsky, meanwhile, while we're talking about all that, he's gone up into P4, but he has about a lap and a half to close a 2.5 second deficit to Ben Skinner, and we said that we didn't expect him to be on the podium, and he was in with a shot at it, but I think that's gone into the drain now, unless something happens to Ben Skinner. As we see yellow flags, Randy Park, the commentator's curse strikes, is gone from P9 to P11, so something's happened to the rookie there as he loses 2 positions, and P11 is still going to be points, but not as big points as he would have hoped for on his first race. And did he just take too much of the curb? He did. And sailed wide, lost the rear end, was lucky enough to...
Yeah, it's scary when you latch onto the curb like that because it's slippery and you don't want to really add any throttle, add any brake because anything can happen and you just have to react quickly.
Oh, let's just take a look what happened to Antonis Paparinopoulos again. He just loses the rear end as well. It's just
too eager on the throttle. You know, these cars... very oversteery
in this race as well.
Yeah, tire wear maybe as well, but these cars are very oversteery, very heavy slip angle, as everyone has said. And being hard on the gas pedal is very deadly, even though the cars aren't high on horsepower. So, yeah, people get caught off guard by that, I assume.
Absolutely, and one driver who's going to be on the throttle fully for the duration of this final lap is Thiago Mello, who, while we're looking at the rest of the grid, has caught up massively to Christian Glomsetter, so Elk International could still keep their 100% win streak in OWSS this season if Thiago Mello can get past the Norwegian he has. We saw Juho Soppanen went into the pit lane for some unknown reason. I'm assuming the same fate befell him as did Craig Patterson early on in the race, where he had to take
very close racing,
involuntary drive-through, and now he's P6, the Finnish driver. Thiago Mello, though, going for a different kind of Scandinavian here, and he's very close to Christian Glomsetter here, and I think that he's gonna have to make a very late lunge.
Had a very good exit here though.
Oh, he did. He might not have to wait for the final turn at all. He's alongside Christian Glomsetter on the outside though, and he's
around the outside.
He's gone through. He's not. He's still there. Thiago Mello is still alongside with Christian Glomsetter. So the fight's not over quite yet. He will have the outside line for this turn, but the inside line for the next 2. There were yellow flags somewhere on the track, but I don't think anyone's been impeded enough. Thiago Mello goes through for now.
Deep.
Oh, Christian Glomsetter's still there. He now has the inside line for the following up turn. That's going to be the penultimate corner. They're side by side. They're banging tires. They're banging tires. Christian Glomsetter's still in the lead, but Thiago Mello has the inside line here, and Thiago Mello goes into the lead. Christian Glomsetter spins! Christian Glomsetter spins out of the final turn, and Thiago Mello goes in front to win the race. Elk International keep their 100% win streak, and Ben Skinner takes P2 out of nowhere. And I think David Juntas cleared Christian Glomsetter for 3rd, right before the line.
What a final lap. That's all I can say. What a final lap. Very interesting. That was definitely our best finish that I've seen to a race.
Oh, it's not done yet. Craig Patterson is still catching up to Andy Park. Will he be able to?
One more point.
He might. He had a better race than Andy Park. It's going to be a drag race to the end.
Close.
But Andy Park wins in the end. It was Andy Park who won P11.
Yes.
P11. And as we wait for the rest of the drivers to round out, it was Mark Sinagi, P13. Fires Youngster, there is. P14. Has Leila Petraga been lapped, or are we still waiting for her? We're still waiting for her. She's in Sector 2. Come on, Leila, pick it up. No offense.
Wow, what a final lap. Christian Glomsetter, so eager to keep the win. He just mashed the throttle and hoped the car would stick, but he spun out, and that cost him even more, so he can only be mad at himself. Although he did put up a very good fight during the whole lap, defending well, attacking well in the final corners, in his final opportunities. So very good drive nonetheless.
Absolutely. As we take a look at the replay while Leila Petraga finishes the race at Christian Glomsetter's unfortunate end at the battle for P1. Was that slight contact by Thiago Mello? If it was, I don't think that was quite enough for Glomsetter's car to be upset enough to lose control. We go back a bit further than the final turn. They did bang wheels going into the penultimate turn. That was very obvious, but I do want to take a look at the final turn. Was there contact between Mello and Glomsetter? We have a slow motion replay here, and there was slight contact, and Glomsetter was off both pedals for a split second and then went too hard on the throttle, and I think that's what ultimately caused his spin and not the contact with Mello. But nevertheless, I feel like Glomsetter might be looking at a different perspective than us, especially seeing as he lost out on the podium entirely through that battle. But yeah, very good ending to the race.
Very.
As Thiago Mello, again, as we said earlier, keeps Elk International's 100% win streak in this season. Ben Skinner gets P2 for KKR Esports as David Junt rounds out the podium. Yet another good performance from the Swiss driver. Christian Glomsetter finishes P4. Cody Nikolai-Latkovsky for the first time this season does not win, yet still finishes in the top 5. Juho Sopanen P6, Nova McKenna P7, Rafael Orhan P8. Good performance there from P7 and P8. Victor Bernard P9. Stavros Sarikas P10. Good points for Rizerin from the other Greek driver there. Craig Patterson P11. Andy Park on his debut P12. Mark Silagi in P13. Faiz Yongsha P14. And Leila Petralia, our last finisher and point scorer, in P15. And then our DNFs in order: Antonis Paparinopoulos, Kordian Koziminski, Jonas Kaurala, Brady Lawless, and Brando Tenorio.
Lovely sprint. I think this was definitely the best race finish. Okay, maybe the best race finish we've had, maybe ever, even in season 1. Although I think there were some pretty close moments there as well, but nonetheless, this was pretty good.
Absolutely, and looking through the server, it does appear as though we will be down to 19 drivers for the race, as we will be missing the second Rizerin of Antonis Paparinopoulos. But yeah, first race done. Hopefully more action, equally or more as entertaining in the second one as in the first one. And I think it's about time we go, oh well, not about time, but I think it's deserving of us to go on a break after exhausting ourselves with that first race to catch our breath a bit before the second one.
I agree.
We'll see you in 5 minutes. And we're back just in time for the formation lap of our feature race here today at Kyalami, the third round of OWSS's second season. The first race, the sprint race, was very entertaining. If you missed that, well, I feel bad for you, but you can always rewatch it back. But with 7 more laps in the feature race, hopefully we see more of the action within the first race. Samuel, would you like the honors of reading out the starting grid for our feature race today?
I do not mind doing that, so yes, I will.
Thank you.
So, Cody Nikola Latkovsky back in P1, Victor Burnett in P2, David Young P3, and Thijs Jongstra, very strong qualifying, goes in P4. P5, Christian Glamstetter, P6, Ben Skinner, P7, Thiago Mello, P8, Nova McKenna, also a very good qualifying by him. P9, Andy Park, P10, Lewa Petralia, P11, Jonas Karawa, P12, Mark Silagi, P13, Hugo Sopanen, P14, Craig Patterson, P15, Rafael Arham, and P16, Stavros Sarikas. And I think that's all. So yeah, a few drivers missing from the sprint race, but nonetheless, let's hope for an interesting race. I can't speak for the life of me today. As we're approaching the final corner on the formation lap, everyone will line up, of course, and hopefully this time we see better racing on the opening lap, as it got quite chaotic mid-lap, I'd say. What do you think, Lorenzo?
Well, I think it's sad to see that we're 4 drivers down in the feature race compared to the sprint race, but yeah, beggars can't be choosers, and you can't force people who don't want to compete and who don't want to, respect the league boundaries and everything to respect them. It just shows what they're like. But the 16 people who have today, I'm sure that they have no problem in doing that, as someone is stranded on the grid. That's Nova McKenna, who's going to start from the pit lane, and Thiago Mello, that's Andy Park, who's Mrs. Grid slot, and is in a bit of an Austin Power situation. Up. There you go. Alright, are we all ready? I think we're all ready. As the lights are already on, and 5 lights are already on, and they're off already. That was very quick time by the lights. There's already yellow flags for some unknown reason, as there's 5 wide behind Cody Nikola Latkovsky going into turn 1. Nova McKenna has been disqualified for some unknown reason, so we only have 15 drivers in this race. So everyone who finishes gets points, as that's Victor Bernard, who's been nudged by Thijs Jongstra down into P7, and there's yellow flags again already in Sector 3. There's no one in Sector 3 at all, as that's one of the World 1 cars. I think that was Juho Sopanen, who went onto the grass into turn 3 inside, and has dropped down massively. He's down into 14th from starting in 12th, I think it was. So, oh, that's one. I think that was Thijs Jongstra being pushed wide by Leila Petralia through that very long right-hander. And oh, someone spun in the back. And was that Leila Petralia? We didn't quite get a good eye on it, but we talked about how chaotic it got mid-lap in the sprint race on the opening lap, and that seems to be a recurring theme here at Kyalami. As who was that? It was Leila Petralia, was it? Yeah, took too much curve. Oh. And that was Craig Patterson being included as well, and I think that was the optimal of Andy Park as well being clipped, and Craig Patterson falls to 15th and last. And the Guernsey man has just not been lucky at all this round, and I think in general, if memory serves correct, across this OWSS season. But if he just gets it across the line, he will score at least some sort of points. And I think at the end of the day, that's all that matters for Cyrex, although admittedly he would have hoped for more points. There's constant flashing yellow flags in Sector 3, and we're not sure why. It could be a glitch maybe, due to the fact Nova McKenna has been disqualified, but my knowings of how our Factor 2 servers work are next to none. So I just leave that up to speculation, as Andy Park is going through the grid fairly aggressively, one could say, and has overtaken Thiago. No, that was David Junt overtaking Andy, or was that Andy Park overtaking Mike Silagi? Because we have the Aquilas and the Optimals sort of making a little train where it's Junt, Park, Silagi, Bernard in an Aquila Optimal train, with Fires Youngstra behind Mike Silagi now. The Dutchman, obviously, we saw quite affected in the opening lap with quite a lot of collisions. He's going to look to gain back the positions he lost, which was 5 of them. So currently 9th, the Soul Excellion today. He's going to look to get a better finish than what he currently has, Sam.
Yeah. Taizyongsha P9, 3/10 back. The grid's kind of spread out. There's like just everyone's in pairs really, and not much group fighting, I would say.
Yeah, I suppose it does come with the fact that there's less drivers in this race, 4 less again specifically, compared to the sprint race. But again, the field feels unnaturally spread out. We have Cody Nikolatkovsky in first place with a 7/10 gap on Christian Glomsetter, and then another 7/10 gap between Glomsetter and Skinner. And then now Thiago Mello has closed down on Ben Skinner with a very aggressive late switch to the inside line for turn 2. And will that be able to work for Thiago Mello? It does seem like he's still alongside Ben Skinner, but it didn't work quite as planned just yet. Although I mentioned everyone is at most in pairs, it does seem like that's about to change, because there seem to be 3 cars now fighting for P3, with Skinner, Mello and Junt in that fight. And Silaki has cleared the other optimal of Park, so now it's a 5-6 for Aquila and a 7-8 for Optimal. And it does look like Silaki is looking to join that group fight for 3rd, although he's got Park closer to him than he does his teammate in David Junt, as Ben Skinner was very much abusing the curb on the outside there to enter the following up turn. And I feel like that slowed him down a bit, as we could see smoke, and I don't think those curbs are quite as much curb as much as they are grass. It could be half and half, because that's just concrete, so I don't know. There's been so much happening in the first lap that I've kind of lost. And Skinner's lost it as well. He's fallen down. Someone's lost it. That's Victor Bernhardt in the back, so the other optimal of Victor Bernhardt has spun around as well. Ben Skinner's gone down from 3rd, to almost 7th, just barely managed to keep Andy Park behind him. Now he's got the 2 Aquilas in front of him. More yellow flags in sector 3. Is that genuine now? That is genuine, as Victor Bernhardt keeps falling down. So the Spaniard in some sort of... Okay, Victor Bernhardt is out of the race, and we just only about saw him without a front wing, which I don't think we've seen any other car manage to do this season. So yeah, unfortunately a first in this league by Victor Bernhardt, and he's our first DNF of our feature race today. Hopefully the last as well, as we're now down to 14 drivers, and it's not something you'll love to see really, but it's something you have to cope with. As Ben Skinner saw the Aquilas in front exchange positions, Silagi now in 4th, and Junt slotting in behind his Hungarian teammate in 5th. And Skinner's going to look to gain back the positions he lost pairing here, and look to gain back the time he lost on Thiago Mello, who seems to be ever so slowly peeling away from the driver pairing of the Aquilas, but not quite as much yet, although I feel like with time, as Tower slowly starts setting in, that gap might either increase massively if the Aquilas are still in front of Ben Skinner, or it might shrink quite massively if Ben Skinner passes the 2 Aquilas. And Christian Glomsetter is not going to be waiting for Tower to kick in for Cody Nikolatkovsky, as he's already looking to gain back the win he lost in the sprint race from one elk to another. Fighting is just Christian Glomset has been glued to these elks for the entirety of the Kyalami round. He's been fighting Thiago Mello in the sprint race for P1. Unfortunately, we all know how that turned out. And he's just taken the lead from Nikola here in the feature race, Samuil.
Yeah, so far it's basically almost the same fight, although it's not Thiago Mello this time. It's Nikola, who's also very, very fast, faster than Thiago Mello. Christian Glamstetter, though, is putting up a good fight to Cody. This time Cody maybe doesn't have that extreme pace that he showed in the previous rounds. Mark Silagi defending P5 from Ben Skinner, and his teammate David Yunt, also another strong performance, being in P4 as he finished P3 last race. Jonas Karoa on the tail of Yuko Sopanen as well.
And Jonas Karola obviously DNF'd in the sprint race due to quite a lot of misfortune for the Finnish driver. Looking to nullify that misfortune here in the feature race, currently 11th with a quarter of the race done. As we see, Ben Skinner has passed Mark Silagi for P5, although he's not cleared him quite a lot just yet. And he's got a bigger gap to David Yunt than he does to Mark Silagi. So it seems like the Aquilas have helped each other quite a lot. Nikola is looking to gain back that P1 from Christian Glomsetter, although the Norwegian is holding strong so far. And I think he has every reason to do so, and I think he is going to be motivated quite a lot to do so after the sprint race. And I think, as it stands right now, if memory serves correct, Christian Glomsetter is Nikola closest contender for the Drivers' Championship, following Victor Bernard's DNF here in the feature race and quite underwhelming performance in the sprint race. So this is really a fight for the championship here, and it's going to sting ever so much more now looking back for Christian, as if he finished first or at least second in the sprint race, he could gain so much more in the championship standings on Cody. And having finished 4th and Cody 5th is going to be a minimal gain. So he's going to hope to win this race to gain ever so slightly more points on Cody going into, what was it, Manicourt following round? It is Manicourt. So my question is, do you think that Christian can hold out for the remainder of the race, Samuel?
I think it's going to be very hard. Cody Nikola drives very, very smooth. Maybe he's going to have a bit more tires preserved by the end of the race, but it depends. He's also in the dirty air, although this car is pretty forgiving in that aspect, so it can be anyone's game. I think Cody's going to be trying to get into P1 to maybe hold up Christian a bit, so Thiago Mello can maybe catch up, and they can try and secure the double win and get a P2 for Thiago Mello. So yeah, that could also be a potential strategy. Amir Oates, who's their race engineer for the races, has to be cooking something up.
Absolutely, and I do feel like Alec International will very much love to achieve their first 1-2 here at OWSS today, as Latkowski looked to the outside potentially of Glomsetter into turn 2. But it's too far back to think anything of it, although it's close enough now to take the inside line into here. Oh, he's still alongside though. He's still alongside with the Norwegian, although not enough anymore. And I think that Latkowski gonna have to wait until the next lap to try and make something work. As Jonas Karola, we talked about him a bit earlier, who we would have hoped, or he would have hoped,
of course,
as, oh, never mind, Latkowski managed to eke out an error from Christian Glomsetter, and Glomsetter falls to second before the next lap. And we saw Thiago Mello go wide as well, behind them in the distance. He's managed to keep it, and they might be going for what you mentioned earlier now, Samuel, in which Cody Nikola is going to look to hold up Christian Glomsetter and tire him out, ramp up his tire wear from forcing him to attack for P1. And we saw how loose Christian Glomsetter was there already. And in that way, he's gonna... Oh, look at the gap Latkovsky already got. It can't have been that big of a mistake, surely, by Glomsetter for that big of a gap to form already. Although it slips him here on the main straight, that it will nullify yet again. But what I was talking about earlier is that I think the strategy you mentioned earlier, where Latkovsky is going to hold up Glomsetter and force him to wear his tires out in hopes of getting back P1. And then Thiago Melo can strike and they can get a 1-2. I think that's very, very feasible now, as Thiago Melo is ever so closely, ever so
already gained a second.
He's already gained a second, yeah. And while we wait for that strategy to pan out, we did see Jonas Karola DNF, unfortunately, so I would just
wonder
like
what
to
happened
see...
to him.
I would just like to see... Oh, as we see Leila Petralia as DNF'd as well already, while we're talking about it. So I do want to see, before Glomsetter strikes, what happened to Jonas Karola and Leila Petralia.
That's not good.
That's okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Wow.
he's gone through the ground.
That looked like netcode to me.
I mean, that can't be anything other than netcode, surely. Did Leila Petralia also experience internet issues, or did she just
experience skill issues?
Spins and gives up?
Yeah, probably gives up.
Does she continue? Was this an earlier accident?
Does she spin again?
Does she take it to the pit lane and then pull into the garage? I'm assuming so, because she kept it going there. Oh, this was an earlier accident. I'm assuming this is what happened to her.
Yep.
It's that curb. It's that outside curb going into the final corner. It scored out
Pretty
so
slippery,
many drivers.
Yeah.
It scored out so many drivers today.
Thiago Melo's moved up in P2.
Yeah, Thiago Melo's moved up to P2. So it's already managed to work, the tactic we mentioned. And now it's only up to the Elk pairing to keep it going for 11 laps now. Do you think they can do that, Samuil? As we see, Christian Glom says already, very, very close, but it says not to attack there.
I'm confident they can pull off the 1-2. Thiago Melo already won one battle against Christian Glamsetter in race 1. Nobody really crumbled under pressure, but we saw Thiago Melo get the upper hand in that battle, so he might as well keep that positive momentum going in for race 2. So Christian Glamsetter is going to have to going hard on the attack, push a lot, and break maybe Thiago Melo more mentally than with his pace. So he's going to be looking to secure him every opportunity he gets.
Absolutely, and we just see there again, we mentioned it quite a lot of times, but that exit curb, that outside curb through that section, how much dust it raises up. You'd have to wonder to an extent whether that also affects the tire wear of the drivers. Obviously, curbs do have some sort of effect on tire wear, but also differs from car to car and tire to tire. I do wonder whether those curbs, seeing as they're completely different to the curbs you see there, the red and white striped ones, whether that has any effect on the tire wear, whether drivers will have to use them less and be slower because of that, so they can save tires and in the long run do better. And Ben Skinner, as we take a look here, is cleared one of the Aquilas quite comfortably a long time ago, and there's a big gap to it now. He's going to look to clear the other Aquila now of David Junt, and he does look to be quite close. Slipstream is always going to be a helping point here down the long main straight, but I still think it's going to be about 2 or 3 laps before he can attack him. Oh, never mind, as David Junt loses control of the rear. He taps the Armco ever so slightly, and that might have caused him quite a lot of damage, or quite a little amount of damage. It looked like not a big shunt, but nevertheless, we were talking about how Ben Skinner might have to wait 2 or 3 laps before he can attack David Junt, but P4 has just been served him on a platter, Samuil.
Yeah, Ben Skinner always getting lucky. No, I'm kidding, I won't be hating this time, but Ben Skinner moves up once again due to the misfortunes of others. David Junt now falls back even more, but the Aquila cars are doing good enough, I guess. They're securing some good points.
Yeah, Aquila Racing, obviously one of the stronger lineups, full-time lineups, as we've had quite a lot of emergency drivers come into these 3 rounds we've had already this season. But I would say Aquila Racing one of the stronger lineups we have in this season. So obviously, 5th and 6th place is quite good for them, and I think that's realistically where they can be every race, even with a full grid of everyone who's a full-time driver. So, you know, good points for them, and I think with how things are currently, if it would shoot them up into the top 3 positions in the team's championship if they're not there already, although I feel like they are.
What do you say? Sorry, I was dealing with an issue.
I was
Did you
saying,
forget already?
no, I was saying how Aquila Racing, even with a full grid, is where they realistically should be, and how I think with the results as it stands, they would shoot up into the top 3 in the team's championship. I think in front of them currently are Elk International, unsurprisingly, Fox Esports, and KKR, although I could be wrong.
I think that's how it is. The order. Let me check.
While you check that, we will check how Coda Nikola Latkovsky has yielded P1 for the time being to Thiago Mel. Was that of his own volition? No! Oh, that was a very, very good save by the North Macedonian driver, but that's going to affect his tower quite massively, and he lets Thiago Melo through, but he's managed to stick with him in the slipstream. So Christian Glomset is not there quite yet to try and force an attack on the Elk pairing, but that's going to be a big detriment to Latkovsky's tire wear, and seeing as it's lap 11 out of 20, it could be a deciding factor potentially going down the line in the race, with now Thiago Melo in first place crossing the line to start lap 12. 8 laps to go, so Latkovsky is obviously going to flat spot his tires there, and Glomsetter is not in the slipstream, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, he's lost a bit of time.
Oh, and he's lost the rear end as well. Oh no, another hard break for Christian Glomset, and is he going to retire as well? Surely not. Is he just waiting for people to pass by? I think he is, and I hope he is. And
he's going to go after Craig.
Yeah. He's going to have to go. He's going to have to settle behind Craig Patterson. So again,
he's got 8 more laps left, so he could get up to P8, P7. Potentially.
I think even higher than that. But yet again, Christian Glomsetter. It happened on lap 13, the final lap of the sprint race. He lost it in the final turn and went from 2nd to 4th. This time, on lap 12 of 20 of the feature race, he lost into turn 2 and he's gone from 3rd to 11th, and he's been so unfortunate, Glomsetter, in this round. It does, as a neutral spectator, hurt to see, really, but I think this might be very good news for Aquila Racing though, because they've now moved up to 4th and 5th, and with Fox Esports having only 1 driver, this could mean that they jump both Optimal and Fox Esports. No, sorry, Optimal and Fox Esports, potentially even KKR, depending on how Ben Skinner finishes, because Jonas Carroll has DNF'd in both races, but Skinner did get P2 and he's currently in P3 in the feature race. So Aquila Racing obviously gonna be the biggest winners of Kyalami as it stands, and I think they have the capability to see this race through in the positions that they have, and I think they will be by the end of Kyalami today the biggest winners today, Samuil.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Aquila, now that I looked at the standings, are currently in P5, and looking at how things are panning out, they actually might get into P3 unless Ben Skinner maybe moves up a spot or two once again and secures a few more points. I think Aquila do go into P3, and Optimal are currently 2nd, but I think that will very likely. Oh no, actually that won't change because they're very very far ahead.
So it is Alcon Optimal fairly safe as it stands. Although I do wonder if Andy Park falls any further down the finishing order, if that gap between Optimal and KKR, potentially Aquila, will be small enough for a chance in either of them overtaking the Dodge outfit. I don't think so, but nevertheless, it does bring a bit more excitement into Manicourt next week, as we will have, I think, what was it, 3 or 4 teams you said, battling very closely for third in the
P3.
team's championship.
Yep. About four
And
teams. Let me tell you which. So the fight is between KKR, Fox, Aquile, McManus, and Rizarin. For now.
now McManus did have a good first 2 rounds, but obviously very lawless today, DNF'd in the sprint race, and then we haven't had him compete in the feature race. Rizarin Stavros Sarikas is still here in the feature race 12, and I think he finished the same position in the sprint race, but Antonis Papranopoulos DNF'd in the sprint race and hasn't decided to compete in the feature race, so obviously Rizarin and McManus look to fall out of favour there in the fight for P3 as it stands, but it does look like it's going to be between Aquila and KKR for P3 into Manicourt if things don't change in a week's time. Andy Park, who we mentioned is at Optimal for today, I do wonder whether Andy Park will be able to find a full-time seat for Manicourt, because he does seem to be doing fairly well on his first race in OWSS, and from my understanding, first race in R Factor 2 in general, so first time competing online on this platform, and doing fairly well for himself in P9, and I think it was P11 in the sprint race, chasing down Juho Soponen for P8 currently as well. And he said in P9, which is where he qualified. Oh, Juho Soponen goes very right there out of the final turn. So Andy Park, he's going to have a slipstream here, and he will look to potentially make a move on Juho Soponen to turn 2. Goes on the outside though, as Juho Soponen defends the inside. They do bang wheels ever so slightly, but Andy Park doesn't have enough speed to overtake Juho Soponen there. Juho Soponen goes wide out of turn 2 though, and Andy Park still doesn't manage to line up a good enough opportunity for a move, Samuel.
Andy Park doing decently for himself, except for the incident with Jonas Karola. He's looking to go up into PA, fighting Juho Soponen, who's much more experienced than him. Excuse me. Rafael Arhem, again, quiet race, but P7. Thijs Jongstra holding on to P6 as well. And the battles have really fizzled out now that the grid is this little. So we can only be looking at the front between Cody and Thiago Melo and see what the teammates are really doing. And Mark Siliagi is off the track now.
He's off the track, but he's no longer off the track, and it doesn't look like it affected him majorly. But at the same time, I'm assuming it's style error at this point, because we're 15 laps into the 20-lap race, and he drifted, yeah. Oh, no, he didn't drift. He fully, well, half-spun and stayed stationary. Had to go over the grass to rejoin safely, and because of that, he's lost so much time on his teammate in David Jont, and now he's going to have to rely on himself alone to defend from Thijs Jongstra, because he doesn't have the slipstream of his teammate to reap off of. So Thijs Jongstra, as we see already, goes on the inside of Mark Silagi and goes into P5. So the Dutchman, with 4 laps to go, goes into P5, although Mark Silagi is still there, and he goes back up into P5, and it did look like Thijs Jongstra didn't try to battle him that hard through that section of corners. So I think Face Youngstra, he might be able to force another attempt at an overtake in this lap. But most definitely, oh, as he goes wide and clips the grass ever so slightly through that long right-hander. Oh, Silagi, very loose, goes, oh, so wide, and then, oh, so offline. And Faiz Youngstra, we said he might be forcing a move on the slap again. He didn't need to, as he's gone back past Mike Silagi, due to Mike Silagi really just being affected by poor tower at this point in the race. As Andy Park has been overtaken by Juhas Hoppan for P8, as we take a look at Code Nikola Lutkowski, still keeping in a little train with his teammate Tiago and Mello, and I think the old pairing are completely unbuffered here, with 4 laps to go, unless something just inexplicable, really, there's no other word for it, happens to either of them. The 1-2 is all theirs, because they have a 5... We overtook Mello, well, it was Tiago... It was Cody early on who had a bit of a drift through Sector 2 and yielded P1 for the time being to Tiago and Mello, but it seems like they've swapped places around yet again. So I think
Thiago Mello's playing the long game at the minute, just waiting for the laps to run out. Stay close, preserve his tires, and go for a last lap, all-out attack once again like he did on Christian Glamsetter.
No, I don't see that happen. I just don't see that happening, as Christian Glomset has overtaken Craig Patterson, and so has Tauras Sarika, so something has happened to the driver from Guernsey. Yet again, yellow flags in Sector 1, and we are now down to 11 drivers, as Craig Patterson joins the DNF. Again, as Faiz Youngstra brings down the yellow flags in Sector 2 and falls to P7, so something has happened to the Dutchman. Let's take a look at what happened. No, let's wait for the start of the race. There we go, Craig Patterson. It looked like he slightly tapped the curb and had a bit of a drift, but it must have been later on. It is.
Spin again.
He just loses the rear end, and ooh, very good, a very close goal there, and Christian Glomsetter did well not to hit him. Slightly taps the arm code there, rejoining, and Craig Patterson decides to call it quits, unfortunately, as this is what happened to Faiz Youngstra, who's now fallen to P10. Oh, just clips the grass, the same place where Mark Silagi made his mistake, which allowed Youngstra to overtake him. Youngstra makes a mistake as well, even more detrimental to his positions than Silagi's, and he's fallen so far down. I think that was even Christian Glomsetter who overtook him. So it is. So Faiz Youngstra has fallen to 10th, all the way from 5th, with 2 laps left. So it is Mark Silagi back in 5th, although still with a massive gap to his teammate David Junt in front. But it looks like Aquila Racing, as it stands, will be able to secure that P4 and 5, and moving up into P6 again with a quiet race. He just does his own thing, really, Rafael Orham, because we've not seen him involved in much action. He just keeps his nose clean from what we can see on the broadcasts. Drives his own little race. He just drives around. He's in his own little world, and things just seem to be working out for him. He just seems to be fairly consistent in his lap times. Doesn't seem to be doing many mistakes, and that's paying off for him. He doesn't seem to be, objectively speaking, the fastest of drivers, but he seems to be one of the more consistent drivers on the grid. And again, that's paying off massively for both him and his team, as Andy Park has been overtaken by Christian Glomsetter for P8. Oh, that battle is still ongoing. So now it's Faiz Youngstra now battling Andy Park. So something happened to Andy Park, and now that's a battle for P9.
Oh, this is gonna end up bad.
No, Youngstra locks up his front right tire, but still manages to keep in front of Andy Park. And I think Andy Park would slipstream here. He's going to be close enough to try and make a move into the final corner, and he does line up for it. And he will try and do it. Oh, they're banging tires, and Faiz Youngstra managed to go out on top for the time being. Although Andy Park is still there, And I was a bit aggressive by Andy Park, but it didn't look like Fajong ever so slightly rubber banded off him. So it could be connection issues possibly that made that contact look worse than it is. Although it could just be really how bad that contact was. And Andy Park now has a lap and a half, well 2 laps, sorry, to try and overtake Fajong somewhere on this track for P9. And he has got a penalty, we're hearing. What for? Was it track limits that Andy Park has got a penalty for? Okay, so Andy Park apparently has got a penalty. We can only assume it's for track limits, as and we didn't see a pop-up either on the graphics. As we see what happened to him, that made him lose 2 positions. Oh, too hot into the hairpin there. Clean rejoin, thankfully enough, and rejoins just alongside Fajong and wasn't able to keep P9 from the Dutchman. But going into the final lap now, I think most positions are really settled. As Nikola Latkovsky has started his final lap.
Yeah, the Melo just fell a bit too far behind to put up any sort of fight, I think.
Yeah, I think there was never going to be a fight between the two. I think the imperative here for the Elk pairing is to just get the both cars across the line and to go 1-2 as Andy Park serves his drive-through penalty for what I can assume is track limits, and that's going to put him behind Stavros Sarikas even, so he's fallen to P11 as well. It doesn't look like the gap is small enough for Andy Park to try and put on a fight in this final lap. It's 3 seconds, and I think Andy Park will have to settle for P11, unfortunately. Although still an impressive showing in the opening round for the Chilean driver here.
Yeah, especially in round 1.
Yeah. But another driver's put on an impressive performance. Oh well, both of them. We've talked about them quite a lot through the season, and less so through this round, but I think deservedly so at this current moment, as Nikola Latkovsky rounds the penultimate turn. And his teammate Thiago Melo not far behind, without really much fanfare, with only 11 cars left standing. Nikola Latkovsky crosses the line, and they were trying to do a Florida finish, like the Ferraris at Indianapolis. It didn't quite work out, but close enough as the Elks get a 1-2. Ben Skinner across the line third as we wait for the rest of the grid to... Oh, what happened to Mark Silagi? Did Mark Silagi also get a penalty? Oh, well, this throws a wrench in the plans, as Mark Silagi had to take a drive-through to end the race.
Ooh, he just lost out. I don't know if he did lose out.
Did he lose out?
I think he only lost out on P5. He got P6, I believe. But Rafael definitely got P5.
So, what happened there? Because I can only assume that Mark Silagi had a drive-through penalty of some sort. But he's in the pit lane now. He's still dropping, but that's just really people who've still not gone into the pit lane overtaking him. But what? It really is baffling. Apologies to everyone still watching, but oh, that's the opposite end. There we go. As we take a look at Mark Silagi did manage to keep P6 although. Alright, moving from first to last, Nikola Latkovsky and Thiago Melo with an Elk 1-2, I think that's the first one this season. Ben Skinner third, David Junt fourth, Rafael Orhem with 5th place for Bravura Racing, yet another good performance by the Swede there. Mark Silagi, we don't know if he's 6th or 7th. We don't know if he's managed to finish above Juho Sopinen for 6th, or whether Juho Sopinen overtook him, because both are listed as 6th. And one's in front of the other, obviously, but I feel like it's going to be a point of discussion for after the race. As Christian Glomset has most certainly 8th, Fires Junction 9th, Stavros Sarikis in 10th place, and then 11th place Andy Park, and then our DNFs in Craig Patterson 12th, Leila Petralia 13th, Jonas Carola 14th, Victor Bernard 15th, and Nova McKenna, who wasn't even able to start the race due to being disqualified for really unknown reasons. We just don't know what happened to the Irish driver in the lead up to the race, because everything was fine for the most part during the formation lap, and then she was just inexplicably disqualified.
Interesting race too. Not in the sense of action packed, but just very different.
Yeah, it's not really as entertaining as race 1 was. Well, there was definitely action for sure, but it does feel like there was more action in the wrong sense as opposed to the, exciting and thrilling sense. We saw way too many points of contact across both races, really, and quite a lot of spins. The curbs were definitely something else in this round compared to what Kyalami and Hampton has. Overall, a quite underwhelming round, despite the fact we had a very exciting fight for the lead in the first race, but yeah, not really much else to say, and really all that's left now is to wait and see whether anyone would like to discuss their opinions on this round, or whether we'll just be rounding out early for tonight.
Yes, so indeed.
As we really wait for the interviews, there we go. We have the calendar up while we wait for any potential interviewees. Next week, it's not Magny-Cours, apologies, it's Bugatti Circuit Le Mans in France still next week, and then going to Misano in Italy and Brands Hatch in the UK. And due to our absence for the past 2 weeks, there is a point in discussion between the owners whether the 2 missed rounds will be taking place or not, and the decision should be taken soon. And if those 2 rounds do take place, they will be at Road Atlanta and Dubai Autodrome. So it will be interesting to see if those 2 races do happen, and if they do, how they will pan out. But for the time being, we have these 3 races to look forward to, and yeah.
So who are we gonna bring in first?
Well, it doesn't seem like. Oh, we do have interviewees indeed, and well, I think it's only fair that we bring in the elk pairing first, seeing as they won both of the races.
Sure, let's do that. And then we can bring in Christian and Craig maybe or something like that.
We could do. It's all up to the drivers really whether they want to be interviewed.
All right.
Let's bring in the pairing of Tiago Mello and Cody Nikola Latkovsky. Cody and Tiago, can you hear us?
Yes. Yep, we can hear you.
Well, then, welcome yet again to the interview room. After a couple of weeks away, it doesn't seem like you've lost your edge, either of you. And I think this is the first 1-2 for the team. Just, I don't know overall, but it's most certainly in the league. And I'm sure you guys are buzzing about that.
I mean, I think we couldn't be happier. Honestly, after having a slightly mediocre start to race 1 and unfortunately losing the car, I was kind of gut-wrenched that I couldn't join Tiago there at the front. But I think this second feature race, we pulled it together. We worked together. We ticked all the boxes, and yeah, I'm just I think seeing Elk in a 1-2 position, that was very satisfying. I wanted to do that earlier, but I'm glad we've gotten out of the way.
And what do you have to say about that, Tiago?
Uh, the first race was very chaotic in the start. I was seeing much three wides and two wides in dangerous corners, but I could manage to get away from the incidents. Um, the car was very good in the track, very comfortable. And second one, I just I was a little bit scared in the start with that fifth wide. I just waited the turn one, and some people's just got spun out, and I managed to get in the inside line and get away from the incident. And until that, I had a good battle with Ben Skinner. Uh, that was a very good battle. Uh, he was letting space for me. I was letting space for him. So yeah, very fair play battle. And in the second part of the race, I managed to chase the Christian and Cody to get a fight for the 1-2 for ELK, and we did that. That was a very good result for the team, and I'm very happy with the round today. And yeah, let's go for the next round and see what happens.
I see, and obviously, as it stands, only 3 rounds remain, so it's not known whether the 2 missed rounds will be ran, but you do seem to be in prime position for the team's championship, and I say quite comfortably as well. Do you think in the 3 upcoming rounds you can keep that gap to teams like Optimal and KKR and slowly Aquila Racing as well?
Um, yeah, I think I can keep the pace, and I just had some problems last rounds, like my game crashing in, in round two, and some crashes in round one. But I I understand the car and the battles with this car, and I think I can keep the pace for the next 3 rounds.
Mm.
What would you like to say about that, Cody?
I think this is going to turn into a Porsche at the 1983 Le Mans, where maybe, just maybe, we'll have a chance at pulling something off that will be very hard to replicate. So having an elk driver win every race, like Porsche, there was one car that didn't, ruin the top 10. But we'll try and make that not happen. As much as that may not look nice to watch, seeing us always towards the front, always getting these sort of results. I think setting that sort of standard would help bring some more people into this league, maybe make them a bit more serious about it. And that, who knows, that could trickle down into some better racing overall. So, we're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep trying our hardest. And who knows? I think we're on a good path for the rest of the season.
Would you like to ask anything, Samuel?
Yeah, Tiago, how do you feel about the battle in race one with Christian Glamsetter? Were you on edge or you were calm during it?
That battle was insane. Last lap, like it was 2000s battles. in the F1. So yeah, a very very good battle, and I'm just sad what happened to him in the last corner. I think he just pressed the throttle too early in the dirt part of the turn, and he spun out, sadly. But yeah, the battle was very very good.
Yeah, very unfortunate for him, but nonetheless, you secured the best result for the team you could. So good round by you guys. Very, very lovely stuff, and you keep dominating.
We'll try.
But yeah, thank you for joining us, you two, yet again in the commentary booth, and do hope to see you on track and up here next week at Bugatti Le Mans.
We'll try our best to make it.
As we bid our farewell to Tiago Miller and Cody Nikolatkovsky, I do see there's two more people waiting for an interview, and I feel like we can do them both together and wrap this up a bit earlier than usual, don't you say?
I guess, but we can interview Yuho and Rafael, I guess, if
Well, there are only two people waiting for an interview, so I say
Remco
we
doesn't
do.
mind.
I'd hope so.
Remco,
All
you're
right then.
muted. All right.
All right then. Let's get this done, short and sweet. As we bring in Rafael Arhem and Juho Sopanen, can the two of you hear us?
Yes, understood. 10-4.
Welcome to the commentary booth then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll start off with you, Rafael. Two very quiet races by yourself, but you kept it clean from what we were able to see, and you kept it fairly consistent. And you were in the end rewarded with a P7 and P5, your best results in OWSS so far. How does it feel?
It feels great. Really happy to get my consistency down and not have as many incidents as I used to. And I think that really helped me out here when a lot of people were fighting and crashing.
And going to you, Yuho, a bit of an underwhelming round, objectively saying, but nevertheless some decent points picked up for Valor 1. And do you feel like, even despite the fact that not as many points as possible were gained in this round, that there's still a good chance for you to be competing for the top 5 in the team's championship? And yeah.
The comment that you made was an understatement. No offense, but I'm really happy with the two P6s. It's been obviously a difficult season for me, but I guess I just decided to just say F it and lock in.
Well, I want to say it's an overstatement because with all of the carnage that had unfolded.
I said under.
No, I know you said understatement, but I do feel like with all of the carnage that did unfold in the two races, I feel like you could have possibly placed in the top 5 in at least one of the races. That's why I said a bit underwhelming.
Well, at least some races just had bit of I didn't actually practice for the race, just only 22 minutes of practice. So yeah, I think if I practice more, and then I would have had a better result, to be fair. But either way, I'm really happy with the results. So thank you to Mission 19 and IMB as well for this one.
Very NASCAR ending to that answer there.
Well, gotta also tell the sponsors something.
Yeah, I understand that. Do you have any questions, Samuel, before I think of another one?
Yeah, Rafael, what did you think was different today that gave you an upper hand and you had better pace and you managed to get some good results for Pravera?
Not crashing, and a lot of practice. I did a lot of practice in this track a week ago, so I really, it really clicked today. Unlike I've had the other 2 times I drove here in OWSS.
All right then. Well, I personally don't have any more questions for either of you, unless Samuel has something to ask. Then,
No,
no.
you were
Okay then.
extensive with your questions, so I don't really have anything else to ask.
Well, that's always nice to hear. But if that's the case, then I do feel like we can bid farewell to the both of you. Juho, Rafael, thank you for joining us here today at Kyalami, and we do hope to see the both of you next week at Le Mans Bugatti.
Oh, sure, for sure. Anyways, heading to bed.
This makes sense.
Yeah, see ya, and thank you.
You guys.
Goodbye to the both of you.
Goodbye.
All right then. Well, that's everyone really. Well, what do you say about this round, Samuel? That hasn't been said already, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can think of anything new except that I really liked race 1 and I didn't enjoy race 2 as much, which is usually quite the opposite in this league. So yeah, very surprising turn of events today.
Yeah, very unfortunate to see the low attendance in race 2, as well as the plethora of incidents across both races, really, that unfolded, and hopefully in the remaining 3 rounds we see less of that, and more of the exciting battles that we had, for example, between Thiago Mel and Christian Glomsetter for the lead on the final lap of the sprint race. Yeah, not really much else left to say, other than to sign off, really, from this round here at Kyalami, round 3 of OWSS Season 2. I was Lorenzo Eterovic-Funcic, still am, joined by Samuil Slavev here for commentary,
Still
and with the ever so lovely Remco Zeeuw on cameras. We do hope to see you next week, at Le Mans Bugatti for round 4. And I do hope you enjoy the rest of your days or nights.